Today's topic, some would say, is not super useful, but it is an interesting lesson in color theory and a good intro to drivers. I'm making a three-dimensional color picker, something that only Blender can do. Starting with the default cube, I'm just going to scale it down by 0.5 so that it's 1 unit on each direction. And I'm going to change its location to be 0.5 on all 3 axes. And this is the cube that's going to be taking on the color in this example. So now we're ready for the shading tab. Make a little more room here, and we're going to be feeding into this base color. And to do that, we're going to combine some red, green, and blue values from a different object. And that feeds in there, and it turns black because all 3 of these values are 0. So we're going to add an input of a value that we can, put whatever we want right there. But we want this to be driven by an empty. That's the driver part. So Shift A to add an empty, whatever kind you like. Plain axes works just fine. And to keep this material visible, even when you select something else, you can click this little pin button, which is very handy for this. And so we're going to be driving this. So right click, add driver. And so this looks a little scary, but we're choosing what object to read from. We choose empty, and this empty's location in X world space gets renamed to var. And then we just don't need to add anything to it. We just use var as the output of this driver. And it goes to 0 because this empty is at 0 in the world. To get the move gizmos, that'll make this a little easier. We can move it a little bit. You can see the cube turns a little red. This value goes up to about 0.5 on the x-axis, which goes up to about 0.5 here. So that's working. Alt-G to put it back at the start. And we just need to do this for the green and blue, or the Y and Z channels also. So we Shift-D, Shift-D. And we can actually save a little bit of work by right-clicking and copying that driver and then pasting the driver into here. And then you can right-click and edit driver. Change that to Y. Easier said than done. Y location. And paste driver, edit driver. Change that to Z. And as long as you connect these up, it should just work. If we go higher in the Y direction, it gets more green. If we go up on the x-axis, it gets more red. There's red. And then if we go up on here, it gets bluer, which combined with red makes this magenta color. And then if you have all 3 maxed out, it turns white. So it's just a nice way to visualize how this relationship happens. If you want to use these values to drive hue, saturation, and value, you can do that as well by searching for combine. No, didn't mean to do that. By searching for combine HSV, that's hue, saturation, and value. And this will get you all the same colors, but with a different method. Put that in. So we can turn up the value, which is the brightness. We can increase the saturation to get a little color in, and then we can go on this axis to change the hue or go through the rainbow. Like I said, not super useful, but a fun novelty thing. There's no reason you would actually color pick that way. Maybe in VR, when you actually have like 3-dimensional interface, it could be useful. If you want to see more like this, you can subscribe. Let me know what you want to see. Thanks for watching.